4, destruction is the first step to transformation. It sounds harsh, but it is the truth. Nothing new can ever be built without tearing down the old. You cannot step into a stronger version of yourself while holding on to the weaker one. You cannot build greatness on a rotten foundation. For if the old you is built on excuses, laziness, fear, and hesitation, then that version of you must be destroyed before a stronger one can rise. For the reason most people stay stuck is because they keep trying to improve a broken system instead of replacing it. They put new paint on crumbling walls and wonder why the house still collapses. Transformation is not a renovation, it is demolition followed by construction. You cannot patch up weakness, you have to burn it down. You cannot cover over insecurity with fake confidence, you must destroy it at its core. The process hurts, but pain is the proof that progress is being made. When I say destruction, I don't mean harming yourself. I mean eliminating everything in you that stands in the way of the person you want to become. It's about killing procrastination. Destroying the voice that tells you to quit, silencing the identity that clings to mediocrity. That voice has to die so that a new one can rise, the voice that says keep going, stay focused, rise higher. Or destruction is not an option if transformation is the goal, it is the requirement. Think about nature. A seed must break before it becomes a tree. A caterpillar must dissolve inside a cocoon before it becomes a butterfly. Destruction always comes before creation. The form that was cannot remain if something greater is to emerge. Human transformation works the same way. You can't stay who you are and expect to become who you want to be. Something has to die for something greater to live. This process is not comfortable. For destruction never is. It requires stripping away the identity you've worn for years. It requires facing your lies, your laziness, your excuses head on and saying, "You no longer belong to me." It means admitting that the version of you that got you here cannot take you further. The person who is okay with shortcuts, with quitting, with being average, that person has to go. The danger is in trying to negotiate with the old self. You think you can keep a piece of it and still move forward, but you can't. If you carry your excuses, your fears, your old habits, they will anchor you back to the life you're trying to escape. You must cut the rope. You must set fire to the bridge. For only when there's no way back does the way forward become real. Destruction is not a single event. It is a daily discipline. Every morning you must destroy the desire to stay in bed. Every day you must destroy the temptation to quit when it gets hard. Every night you must destroy the thought that tells you tomorrow will be easier. It won't. The process repeats, and each time you destroy the old self, you are transformed a little more into the person you're meant to become. So yes, destruction is the first step to transformation. It's not pretty. It's not easy. It's not comfortable. But it is the only way. You must burn away who you were to make room for who you can be. You must die to yourself daily so that a stronger self can be reborn. Transformation is not about adding. It is about removing. And only through destruction can the truest version of yourself be revealed. Comfort is the enemy of greatness because it lulls us into believing we are further along than we actually are before. It whispers that what we have right now is good enough, that we don't need to push harder, and that staying still is safer than moving forward. But here's the truth. Comfort is a trap. It's a slow death dressed as peace. Every time we choose comfort over challenge, we surrender a piece of our potential. The body gets softer, the mind gets weaker, and the spirit forgets what it means to fight. Greatness doesn't live where it's comfortable. Greatness is forged in pain, in risk, in the daily decision to walk away from what is easy. When you look at the people who stand at the top of any field, they didn't get there by embracing comfort. They were willing to sacrifice it. They woke up earlier than anyone else. They worked when no one was watching. They pushed past the limit where most people stop and called that place home. That is why they rise while the rest remain. Comfort tells you to stay the same. Growth demands that you change, and change is always uncomfortable. You cannot expand without breaking old patterns. Without tearing down beliefs that no longer serve you, without enduring the friction of resistance. The very discomfort you try to avoid is the path to your next level. Every rep in the gym hurts. Every late night grinding on your craft feels exhausting. Every rejection stings. But all of it is evidence that you are alive, moving, growing. Comfort never gives you that. Comfort only numbs you into stagnation. 4. People dream of success, but most don't realize that success requires betrayal of the comfortable version of themselves. 4. You have to betray your desire for an easy life. Betray your craving for instant pleasure. 4. Betray the lazy voice in your head that begs you to rest when you haven't earned it. Greatness is not handed to anyone. It is carved out of struggle, discipline, and relentless commitment. You cannot expect to taste greatness while you're still loyal to comfort. The dangerous thing about comfort is how reasonable it feels. Comfort will tell you that you've worked hard enough for today. Comfort will tell you that you deserve to take it easy, that you can start tomorrow. That one day off won't matter, but comfort lies. One day becomes two. Two becomes a week becomes a year. Before you know it, 4. Comfort has stolen your momentum and left you with regret. The price of comfort is always paid in lost potential. The enemy of greatness doesn't come in the form of failure. Failure teaches. Failure strengthens. The true enemy is that an invisible comfort zone where nothing grows. If you want greatness, you must declare war on it. You must force yourself into situations where you are uncomfortable, where you don't feel ready, where you are stretched beyond your limits. That's where character is built. That's where leaders are forged. That's where greatness is born. So ask yourself, do you want to feel good now, or do you want to live great later? Because you cannot have both. Every time you choose comfort, you choose to remain the same. Or every time you choose discomfort, you choose to evolve. Comfort is the enemy of greatness because it steals the hunger that makes you chase more. And if you want to rise, if you want to build a life that matters, then you must be willing to give up the easy road. Greatness demands that you suffer, that you sacrifice, that you endure discomfort again and again until it becomes your new normal. Only then will comfort lose its grip on you, or only then will greatness reveal itself. Excuses are the most dangerous lies we tell ourselves because they sound reasonable. They feel justified. They protect our ego from discomfort, but they also keep us chained to the exact life we claim we want to escape. Every time we say, I'll start tomorrow, I don't have time, or I'm too tired, what we're really doing is building a wall between who we are and who we want to become. That wall is made of excuses, and the thicker it gets, the harder it becomes to break through. If you want discipline, those excuses have to die. Discipline doesn't grow in the soil of excuses. It needs clarity. It needs commitment. It needs a mind that no longer negotiates with weakness. The truth is, excuses are comforting, but they're also poison. They soothe us in the moment and destroy us in the long run. You cannot expect to live a disciplined life while feeding the very voice that keeps you from taking action. If you want to be strong, focused, and consistent, you must rip excuses out by the root and refuse to water them ever again. Think about it, the strongest, most disciplined people you admire are not superhuman. They're not blessed with some secret gene you didn't get. They simply don't negotiate with excuses. They wake up when the alarm rings. They train when it's inconvenient. They work when others are distracted. They've made peace with discomfort. And the reason they can live that way is because they've killed the part of themselves that always looks for a way out. They've buried excuses so discipline could take its place. Excuses will always try to disguise themselves as logic. I need to rest. I'll wait until I feel ready. I don't know enough yet. But behind each of these is fear of effort, fear of failure, fear of rejection. Excuses protect your fears, and in doing so, they rob you of your future. The moment you decide that your future matters more than your fears, or you will stop making excuses, that's the moment discipline begins. Discipline is not glamorous. It's not motivational music or big speeches. It's waking up when you don't want to, doing the work when no one claps, and pushing forward when everything in you screams to stop. Excuses are loud. A discipline is quiet. Excuses shout, take it easy. Discipline whispers, do it anyway. The power lies in which voice you choose to obey. Every time you kill an excuse, discipline grows stronger. When you go to the gym, even though you're tired, you prove to yourself that excuses don't control you. When you sit down to work, instead of scrolling, you build the muscle of discipline. When you keep your word to yourself, you silence the part of you that always tries to quit. Discipline is built in these small battle L's, and each victory requires the death of an excuse. If you don't kill excuses, they will kill you, not physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. They will suffocate your ambition, bury your dreams, and leave you living a life of regret. Excuses are the slow poison of potential. Discipline is the antidote. And the truth is simple before. Both cannot live inside you at the same time. One must die for the other to thrive. So the next time you hear that familiar voice telling you to wait, to stop, to settle, remember what's at stake. Remember that every excuse you let live is a piece of your future you're willing to kill. And if you want to live with freedom, with strength, with pride, then excuses must die for discipline to live. Before, weakness cannot survive strength because the two cannot coexist in the same space. When you decide to become strong, or you make a choice to reject weakness in every form, whether it's physical, mental, or emotional. Strength is not about looking tough. Before, it's about proving to yourself that you can endure what others cannot, that you can rise when others break. Weakness thrives in an environment of comfort, excuses, or in fear. Strength thrives in discomfort, responsibility, and relentless action. If you choose strength, weakness has no place left to hide. Before, most people believe weakness is something you're born with or something you're stuck with, but that's a lie. Weakness is simply the result of repeated decisions to quit, to avoid, to complain, to take the easy road. And strength is built the same way. Before, through decisions, every rep in the gym, every early morning when you don't feel like waking up, every uncomfortable conversation you choose to have instead of avoiding, all of those are bricks in the foundation of strength. Weakness crumbles the moment you stop feeding it and start feeding discipline. The truth is, strength is not a gift before, it's a requirement if you want to live a meaningful life. Weakness will whisper to you that you deserve rest, that you can start tomorrow, that no one is watching for, so it doesn't matter. But strength doesn't care about whispers. Strength listens only to the call of action. Strength doesn't negotiate. Before. It doesn't ask for permission. It moves forward regardless of the noise. Weakness cannot survive when faced with a mindset that refuses to bow to comfort. Before. Look at anyone who has achieved greatness in any area, business, sports, relationships, leadership. You will not find weakness in their core. You may see setbacks, failures, or mistakes, but not weakness. Because weakness folds under pressure while strength sharpens under pressure. Weakness makes excuses. Strength makes progress. Weakness quits. Strength adapts. Weakness hides. Strength shows up. That's why you can't keep both. For the moment you choose strength consistently, weakness begins to suffocate. Strength is not built in grand moments. It is forged in small, often invisible battles. Saying no to junk food when you want it. Waking up when the alarm goes off the first time. Finishing the work you promised even when you're tired. For weakness survives in the shadows of these decisions, but when you stack enough victories, weakness loses oxygen. You starve it until it no longer exists. And once you know what it feels like to stand in your own strength, you will never want to go back. There's something liberating about strength. Before, it doesn't mean you never struggle. It means you refuse to be owned by struggle. Weakness enslaves you to emotions, impulses, and circumstances. 4, strength frees you to act regardless of emotions, to persist regardless of impulses, to win regardless of circumstances. And freedom is always the result of strength. Before, weakness cannot survive in the presence of someone who has decided to take full responsibility for their life. So every day you are faced with a choice for feed strength or feed weakness. You don't get to do both. Every action either builds you or breaks you. Every decision either pushes you toward power or pulls you deeper into fragility. The world will not respect weakness, but it will always respect strength. Before, and the more strength you build, the more weakness becomes irrelevant. That's why weakness cannot survive strength, because strength is not a trait. It's a daily commitment. It's the fire you walk through on purpose. It's the pain you endure with intention. It's the resistance you embrace knowing it is making you unbreakable. And once strength takes root, weakness has no ground left to stand on. 4, the old self can't come with you. That's the truth people avoid because it's uncomfortable. Everyone wants transformation. Everyone wants success. For everyone wants the next level, but almost no one is willing to kill the version of themselves that's holding them back. We cling to old patterns, old stories, for old excuses like they're treasures when in reality they're chains. You cannot step into a new life while dragging the corpse of the old one behind you. Before, if you want to build the future, The past has to die. Think about it. The person you are right now has created the life you're living. Every choice, every thought, for every habit has built your current reality. If you want something different, you cannot rely on the same operating system. You can't expect the same routines, for the same discipline, the same mindset that got you here to get you to where you want to go. The version of you that sleeps in, that procrastinates, that hesitates, that needs approval. That version doesn't belong in the future you're building. You have to bury him. You have to be ruthless. Most people fail because they want change without sacrifice. They want to take the old self with them, hoping he'll magically adapt to the new vision before. But the old self is comfortable. He's lazy. He's addicted to convenience. He doesn't care about your future. He cares about survival. He whispers, take it easy. You've done enough. You'll start tomorrow. And as long as you let that voice live, it will sabotage everything you're trying to create. That's why destruction is non-negotiable. Destroying the old self doesn't mean hating who you were. For it means recognizing that who you were isn't enough to carry you forward. It means breaking the cycle. For it means setting fire to the version of you that wants mediocrity so you can rebuild as someone who demands greatness. For you can't stay loyal to both comfort and growth. One has to die. And if you're serious about building yourself, the choice is already made. Or the process is painful, no doubt. You'll feel the pull of your old habits. You'll crave the easy path. 4, you'll feel resistance every time you try to rise above who you were yesterday. That's normal. But every time you choose discipline over laziness, every time you choose courage over fear, every time you choose focus over distraction, you are burying the old self one shovel of dirt at a time. Before, it's not one dramatic moment, it's 1,000 small executions of destruction. And here's the brutal reality: the old self will try to resurrect. 4, he will show up in moments of weakness. He will sneak in when you're tired. He will test your resolve. That's why this is a daily battle. 4, you don't kill him once and move on. You kill him every day with your actions. You destroy him in the gym, in your work, in the discipline of your routines. You destroy him when you refuse to negotiate with excuses. You destroy him when you keep promises to yourself even when no one's watching. 4, the old self can't come with you. He's not qualified for the life you want. He doesn't have the strength, the resilience, or the discipline required for the vision you're chasing. So either you destroy him or he destroys you. That's the choice. And every single day before you decide which version survives. So the next time you feel resistance, remember that's the old self fighting for his life. 4, and the only way to win is to bury him and keep walking forward, because the future you deserve is built on the ashes of the old you before. Daily destruction creates daily rebirth. Every single day, the version of me that woke up this morning cannot be the same version that goes to sleep tonight. If I allow myself to end the day in the same state I started it, then I've wasted 24 hours of my life. Growth doesn't happen in giant leaps. It happens in the small, brutal choices I make daily. And those choices demand sacrifice. They demand destruction. 4, destruction means killing laziness the moment it shows up. It means crushing the thought of comfort before it seduces me into wasting another hour. 4, it means burning the excuses that sound reasonable in the moment but are only traps that keep me where I am. Destruction is not glamorous. It's ugly. It's painful. It feels like ripping away a piece of myself. But that's exactly what it takes, because the old me has to die if the new me is ever going to live. Before every great transformation comes with loss. People lose who they thought they were. They lose relationships that are tied to old habits. They lose the identity they've been protecting for years. But in that loss, there's power. In that destruction, there's freedom. The person who clings to who they are will never meet who they could be. I can't bring weakness with me into strength. Before, I can't bring excuses with me into discipline. I can't bring fear with me into success. The two can't coexist. One has to die for the other to live. Rebirth is not a one-time event. It's not something that happens once after some dramatic breakthrough. It's not something I celebrate after a single win. For rebirth is daily. It happens in the tiny, boring, often invisible moments where I say no to who I was and yes to who I want to be. Waking up when I don't want to, for pushing harder when I feel like quitting, staying silent when I want validation. These are acts of destruction. And at the same time, they are acts of rebirth. What makes this process difficult is that destruction never feels rewarding in the moment. It feels heavy. It feels like loss. It feels like I'm cutting away something that once made me feel safe. But comfort is not safety. Comfort is slow death. Every time I cling to it, I bury my potential deeper in the ground. For daily destruction demands courage because it means I'm willing to kill the part of me that clings to safety in order to give birth to the part of me that thrives in challenge. Rebirth is messy. It doesn't come with applause. Nobody claps when I choose to destroy distraction by staying focused. Nobody cheers when I destroy fear by taking action anyway. Nobody notices when I destroy excuses by showing up even when I don't feel like it. But those are the very moments that redefine me. Those are the silent victories that stack up over time until the gap between who I was and who I've become is undeniable. The truth is, before destruction and rebirth never stop, every level I reach will demand the death of the version of me that got me here. What worked yesterday will not work tomorrow. The habits that built the current me cannot build the future me. So every day I must destroy myself again, destroy comfort, destroy weakness, destroy fear. And from that destruction, I rise again stronger, sharper, and closer to the version of me I was meant to become. Daily destruction creates daily rebirth before. And the person willing to repeat that cycle relentlessly is the one who will become unstoppable.